Good afternoon. Welcome to Inspire to Inspire. This is episode 4. I got a good friend of mine, Leonard Nesmith. How you feeling today, brother?
Man, I feel fantastic. How are you feeling, my good brother?
Listen, God is great. God is great.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So listen, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, not a problem, man. I like to tell everybody that I'm a father first, right? I'm a husband. I got my son in here. I wanted him to come in and check it out.
Okay.
So I'm a father first. I'm a husband, man. I got a strong relationship with God. Got 9 brothers and sisters. so I come from a really huge family. Philadelphia, born and raised. And yeah, man, that's me.
That's good. That's a big family. That's 10 of y'all, huh?
10, man. God bless my mother's soul, man. She had us all natural, you know what I mean? And
that's a blessing.
Put up with all the mixed personalities. I really don't know how she did it, but she did it, and she still kicked. My mother's 82. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
blessings.
Yeah, it truly is, man. I am so thankful. She gets around, she drives, she still tell you what's on her mind, if it's good or if it's bad, you know what I mean? So you know what I'm talking about. So
it's that Philadelphia in them.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
So
definitely.
So tell the viewers about your upbringing and things of that nature.
Yeah, not a problem. So once again, I was born, in Philadelphia, North Philly to be exact, not the best of neighborhoods, and obviously my mother had 10 kids, and I was the 10th, right? So, my father, unfortunately, lost to the streets, hooked on drugs. So the relationship there is just not, I don't have one with him, and we know each other, but text each other once in the blue. Grew up in very rough side, drug infested, people, mothers and parents on drugs, and every street corner, people selling drugs and guns and all that foolishness. But one thing that my mother did, which I will be in debt for her forever, is that we wasn't rich financially, of course, 3-bedroom home, 1 bathroom with 10 kids.
Wow. 10 kids.
Yeah. And but we was rich in love. Wow. So we were always somehow, some way happy, even being in that predicament. And my brothers more than me, cut up in the streets, but I think that love kind of got him out of it, eventually. And everybody, is doing their thing, doing well. And right now, I'm married, which is an awesome thing. I have a stepdaughter as well as a son that's 8 years old. Granddaughter, right? So I'm a granddad.
Granddad. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Look, it is.
Look, young to be a granddad, but take it.
It is what it is. I'm a spring chicken, but hey, man. So yeah, that's going on. Obviously, I got a 9 to 5, man. I'm the VP of operations, where I'm at, manage over 160 people. And what I love to do is a couple of things. Obviously, I got some real estate, got a portfolio there. I'm constantly building that, always scaling. And I also teach it. So one of the beauties, of what I love to do is making sure that people, have an avenue of additional revenue coming in, as well as building, generational wealth. And I make sure that I structure it in a way, or help people structure in a way of, this is a business and not a hobby, regardless if you got 1 property or if you got 10, you know what I mean? So that's what I love to do, and that's
good. That's good. So how's the entrepreneurial journey going for you? I know real estate is your passion. How do you love it? Tell me about it.
Let me tell you something, man. Like, when you sit back and you think about it, especially as you get mature and you have kids, in a family, you start to say, what are you going to leave behind? And when your time comes, what people are going to say. So, and also I start thinking like what I'm going to teach my kid, like what's the special thing my son going to talk about when he gets older and say, yeah, my dad always taught me this and my dad taught me that. So getting into real estate, taught me a few things, right? One, it taught me how to run a business. Two, it taught me how to deal with attorneys. Three, it taught me how to deal with accountants and how to maximize all your tax, benefits legally.
Right.
And it taught me how to read a P&L. Like these are all things that are not being taught in school. And it also allows me to build generational wealth and leave something tangible for my son, but I'm also able to teach him. So, I'm not sure if my son will enter into real estate or not. But one thing I can sit there and say is I can teach him how to run a business. I can teach him how to read a P&L, because regardless to what you do in life, you need to know how to do that. I could teach him how to market his business. I could teach him, how to deal with accountants, deal with attorneys, and, payroll and all those things. So for me, that is special. And I'm waiting, for the day. So right now I'm like, because he's 8. So I'm dropping him when I can. Now, the special thing, I have one thing that happened to me that was extremely special that I didn't know, what was going to happen. So my wife, she had a job and she was doing well, just to let you know. And we created this savings plan between the both of us, and we were doing well. We were saving well and investing and taking vacations and eating out all at the finest restaurants. And so she started to have some trouble with some new leadership at her job. And this is where, God, moves you. That's why you're supposed to move when God tells you, and I didn't know, but, we're just buying real estate, stacking it up, doing our thing, seeing the fruits of our labor, everything's moving well. And so she's having trouble, and it got to a point where, it was affecting her health. It was affecting the household because she just wasn't in the mood, and I'm like, man, you see how much money we saving? Like, you got to get through this. Like, know. And and then it came to a point where I kind of sat down and I looked at everything and I looked up. I'm like, you know what? The real estate money will replace your income. Like, go in and get your 2 weeks, whatever. And she came up like, cool, boom, she did that. And so I was able to retire, my wife, and now she able to start. She just started her own business, is just starting. So it's on ground level, and we all know that it's always profit over wages any day, all day, and God blessed us in a way where now my wife is able to, be much happier and we're able to still provide, for my son, where we're still able to pay our bills, we're still able to take vacations, and we're still able to do all these fantastic things. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, wow, real estate is just super awesome and super powerful for what it provided me thus far, for my family and what it's doing. So that's one of the most special things that happened, that I did not have that on the radar.
Inside. Yeah, but you know what? It's important more so than just than money. It's important that you were able to her anxiety, get rid of her stress and anxiety as a husband. And you put something, of course you had to deviate from the plan you initially set, which is okay. But you already started it. So you had that snowball going already. So when it got to a point where she couldn't take it, you already had something to fill in that spot. And that's important. That's what people need to know too, that sometimes you don't have to be you don't have to quit your job from the start, but at least have the thing moving. So when you do decide, okay, I can't take this no more, you have something that's bringing some type of income in, so you don't suffer, your family don't suffer for it, or things of that nature. So that was brilliant, and that's a blessing. That's definitely a blessing, brother.
It truly is, because I just was moving, you know what I mean? And you sit back and you write your goals down, and you try to vision what your future like I told you, like we went on this when for a little bit we wasn't like clicking. And what I mean by that is like we wasn't we was doing a little foolish stuff with our money, like being honest, right? And we finally start clicking, it start doing jumping jacks, and I'm like, wow, so we was able to take, what was clicking and then invest it into, this real estate, which was generating more revenue. So with that being said, we started to do, we started to live a little more, do a little more things and
enjoy it.
But we kept moving, and by keep moving, like I didn't know that this was going to happen, but God, set it up. I'm going to say perfectly,
perfectly. Yes.
Now she has a peace of mind, which gives the household a peace of mind, and also now my son get to see, wow, my mother, doing entrepreneurship as well, and she can give from her point of view. So now my son's not going to only have his father to sit here and fall back on the days when he's upset with me or whatever the situation is, because I'm discipline mode, right? He can fall back on his mother and basically get great advice on so I just can't thank God enough for it, and it's just a special thing, man. And like that's why I preach it. I think I was mentioning to you, my wife, I'm thankful for this, is that anytime somebody asks me about real estate, my wife know I'm going to be talking for another hour, so she goes back and sit down wherever we at.
But you got to think, real estate changed your life. And like you said, the fact that your son, 8 years old, I think it's important that we let our kids see us being superheroes in a sense, right?
Yes.
That's important, that because you can't tell them, hey, be an entrepreneur if you're not doing it.
Right.
It's kind of, it doesn't really fit the mold, because they're kids. They I think children, young people, let's just say young people, what they see is what they imitate more so than what they hear. So if they see you, if he sees you and your wife being entrepreneurs, when he grow up, that's what he wants to do, because this is what kept the family, this is what got us all the things we had, was entrepreneurship. I think that's very important. I'm very big on that. Yeah, very, very big on that.
And you gotta be, man. And so and you gotta also teach them. And what I mean by that is, when I'm going out doing some things, I tell them, I say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then I make sure that I actually show them. I might take them to one of the properties, when in the midst of rehabbing, and say, son, when I say that I'm going to the property to do something, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. So now he's getting a visual off of what I'm telling him, and then I tie things where I sit there and say, hey, you like this, you like that, you like these Beyblades, and you want these, Robux and all these, things. Well, let me tell you how we get them. This is how we get them. And we have to go over here, pick this, because this lady likes to pay cash. I got one lady, she just pays cash. I said, we're going to go pick this money. I don't care what in the world that we got to do. Somebody called me. When she calls me and say, hey, I got the money, my wife already is in tune. All right, whatever we got to do, we're going to be stopping over here to pick this money. And, so from my son's perspective, if we were supposed to go to the arcade, right? He's like not understanding. And I have to break it down to him and say, hey, the reason why we're going to the arcade is because we have, tenants that's able to sit there and actually, pay us. And we always need to handle our business first. And by handling our business first, then we can sit there and play. Now, at his age, at 8, he's not going to like and enjoy it. But these are the things they're going to stick, and they're going to come out at some time for understanding. So,
yeah, my son, 8 years old, and let me tell you, since he had to be 3, I've been taking him to do bonds and any business I'm doing, I take him with me because I want him to know like it ain't play all the time. Like you things you ask for, and I get it for you. I don't just go outside and just be able to get it. It comes with work, hard work. So now he's at the point he wants to go with me all the time. Like, come on, let's go do. You ain't get a bond today? Like he's really adamant about it because he's learning.
Yeah.
But I'm teaching him how to be an entrepreneur. Like handle your business first, and then the fruits of the labor is great, but you got to put the labor in first.
Right.
You know. So let me ask you, how long you been doing real estate now?
So man, I've been doing real estate, I think for like the last 8 years now. Like as in like super active. Right. So I've been very active for the last 8 years now. Yep.
What was your start? What made you pick real estate?
Well, a few things, right? I mean, one, we do some reading, and when you read, I noticed that a lot of successful people always had some type of real estate in their portfolio, right? That was one thing. And another thing too is I had some buddies. They was, I was a little younger, and I probably would have been in it much. And this is really good because I want to make sure I explain this right. When I was a little younger, my buddies was getting into real estate. But they complained all the time. So, and they came to me, when you go hang, man, these tenants, these contractors, this, that, this is not working, boom, 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 bang, bang, bang. So I was like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to be sitting there being called 3 o'clock in the morning? And who want to sit there and have to deal with these contractors burning you, and you give them money and they don't come and all this stuff. So now, I'm noticing that, now I'm thinking my buddy, he got married, I remember, and one of them anyway, in particular, I'm thinking about, and he just complained all the time he was around me. I didn't know I was his outlet, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I noticed he kept buying property. So after a few years, I'm just like, hold up, buddy. Like, you've been complaining about these darn properties forever. But what I'm noticing is like every year you kind of scaling up, you getting another one and another one. So, after, I don't know, 5 to 6 years, they like 5 to 6 houses deep. I'm just like, what's up? And finally, I asked the right question. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, no, man. He said, how we do this and you knew that, man. The car that we got. But I'm thinking that they just killing it on the overtime at the job or something like that. They going on vacations, a little more than they used to. They, up their cars, driving little C-class Benz, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, that's dope. I'm thinking that, but they were like, nah, man, he kind of told me what they was making at the job. And I'm like, he said, yeah, I use this money to pay for this. I use this money to pay for that. And that's, I was pissed at him. He don't even know. So because I'm like, all these years, you just did nothing but dump complaining on me, but I blame myself. And the reason why I blame myself is because it ain't his fault. I'm his friend. That's what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to come over and talk about like barbershop talk. You talk about anything you want to talk about. It was my job to sit there and investigate.
Right. That's the right question.
Right. So, but hey, man, your time is your time. And I asked, and that would kind of got my gears to start changing. Right. And then that kind of, so you know what, let me start to get into this real estate thing. So that's really what opened me up.
Okay. And I know you also teach real estate.
Yes.
You have your classes and things of that nature. Tell people about that.
Yeah. You know what? It's a beautiful thing, man. Journey to success in real estate. We just did this amazing thing, which, in 2020, I'm really going to do this. And because I think this is where I think, honestly, you get more bang for your buck. So I did something called a real estate ride along. All right. And what that is, I have a Sprinter van. So I get this Sprinter van and, we had, I think we had about 10 people that came on this ride along. And, I got with my realtor. I said, listen, find a couple houses because I wanted some houses where I didn't know anything about. I wanted to look at it fresh, right? And so that's what she did. So everybody met at one location, got in a Sprinter van, you know, kind of did the introduction thing. And then we went to the first house, first property. And I was able to teach everybody through an investor eyes of how you look at property and what you look at. So we start from the outside, you know, what you look at from up the street, down the street, to doing the my secret sauce, you know, on for newbies on how to basically, you know, evaluate, you know, these deals. So we went to a couple properties in the morning time. So we spend the first half of the day going to a couple properties, right? And then the second, then we go to lunch, you know, I treat them lunch, you know, good food. Then the second half of the day is like a lecture. So we go over go over the deals, you know, and I show them, you know, how to analyze the deal, if that was a good deal, if that was not a good deal, and why. And then I also give them like kind of like a 101 real estate lesson to ride along. And it's truly amazing, because the reason why I picked the properties that I never seen, because I can give them a fresh outlook rather than something that I already checked out and looked at and knew about. It was all fresh. It was like this, we all here together, you know, and I'm going to walk through this like I was going to buy it. And one of them I actually put a bid in. And I didn't get it, but I put a bid in on it. You know, I walked through it. I'm just telling them, this is what I see. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. And I think that type of education is monumental, because that's the education people don't have.
Right. So with these homes you did the walkthrough with, do you, or with the people you're mentoring, let's use the word mentoring, do you help them every step of the way doing the real estate, like the contracts, the
so what happens here is I got a program, a coaching program, where, you know, I basically walk you through everything you need to do. I kind of got this 17, look like a snake, right? You know, I got this 17-point system that look like a snake, and that helps you stay on track, right? It kind of lets you know where you need to go, right? And then in it, you know, I sit there and I help you, you know, hey, you know, like the first thing we do is this goal call, right? You know, what are your goals? Because everybody goals are different. You know, some people want to be this, some people want to retire from their job or whatever the situation is. And other people just want just some extra income so they could drive a nice car, and they don't want to be the ones that pay for it. You know what I mean? And then some people, you know, they say that they know, but they don't know. And obviously through the call, you find out that, and I'm able to give them, and I also teach about 4 avenues of entry points of getting into real estate, where I have noticed that 9 out of 10 people don't know. You know, I'm more teaching on buy and holding. So I'm a buy and holder more than like a flipper or a wholesaler or anything like that. So my course is much more on buy and holding. I just believe in that recurring revenue income every single month, of getting that constant paycheck, you know, after the day. And as you scale, that's 1 paycheck, 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks. And what I like to do, and I'd like to tell people, I set everybody up, all my tenants up electronically to pay. And I put some tenants in around the 1st of the month, and I put some tenants in around the 15th of the month. And every time someone pays, my phone go ding, right? And every time I get a ding, I know that's money in the bank. I get, like, this is how I start to look, right? So you figure everybody's not going to pay on the 1st. Some people pay on the 1st, some people pay on the 2nd, some people pay on the 3rd, some people pay on the 5th. So my phone be dinging all the 1st of the month. Money. And around the 15th, so you might have somebody pay the 15th, the 17th, the 19th, you know, and my phone dinging. So once again, I'm sitting here smiling, phone keep dinging, and everybody like, why you keep smiling all the time? I'm like, man, you have no clue and no idea. I said, every time that phone go ding, you know what I mean? I'm like, paper going somewhere. Yeah, boy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I tell people that, like, hey, that's kind of what I kind of teach is, and everybody kind of like that. They want the ding, right? Because the ding is something that makes you feel great. Let me just tell you a quick story. So I took my family to Mexico, right? And so my son was like, he saw the jet skis or whatever. Oh, Dad, you know, no, he saw jet skis and he started the parasailing. He's like, oh, so I'm like, I just wanted to relax. I'm like, son, we're out here. Let's just relax, right? So, he was like, oh, I want to do the parasailing. I want to do that thing. I'm like, son, just go in the water. We in Mexico. Come on. Like, we already spent all this money at this dorm resort, right?
Right.
And then I'm sitting there, and guess what my phone go? Ding!
Ding!
So I said, all right, son, let's go. I said, because at the end of the day, we're not paying for it. We owe PM in this and other people money. So which one you want to do, the jet skis or you want to do the parasailing? So he picked the parasailing, and we just went right over to the parasailing, because I'm like, you know what? Like, this is why we do it. This is why we work hard, right? And
right.
I had to be reminded, and that reminder just came through. Right there, I swear, I never forget. I was chilling. I had me a little cocktail. I'm telling him to get back in the water. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, I don't know if I was trying to catch a something or what, but I'm drinking, and the phone went ding. I just see, come on, son, we're out.
Let's go get it. That's right. That's the blessings of having your own situation, because when you create your own business, you don't know when the money coming, but when it comes, it's right on time.
It's right on time.
That's
yes.
right.
Yes.
So with the so you're doing the coaching.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Are you building an investment team?
Well, I mean, I'm not building an investment team, but you build a team to invest, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
that makes all sense.
And what I mean by that is, you need things in place to be successful. You need a realtor or realtors, right? If that's the avenue that you're going to take. Obviously, you need an attorney, you need an accountant, you know what I mean? You need handymen and contractors, and these are all the things that, I teach people on how to go about it, because a lot of people ask me questions. Oh man, how do you get handymen and all that? Well, I got a way of how you go about it that's very simplistic, and it's actually in your everyday walk. I'll give you a little insight. So, example, everybody get gas, correct?
Right,
you get gas, I get gas. And these days, I don't think, regardless of where you live, in the country, right? It's typically a mini mart that's attached to the gas station, right?
Right.
So with that being said, when you're going to get gas, I tell everybody, open your eyes. You're going to see two things. You're either going to see trucks that got signs on it, right? That's going to say, I'm a HVAC, I'm a plumber, I'm an electrician, right? Or you will see somebody get out of a van or another truck that's not with no signs, but they look the part. They look like a painter. Right. They look like the car. I said, and the best thing you can do when you're in line, getting some coffee, getting some tea, paying for your gas, is look at them and say, what do you do for a living? And 9 out of 10 will sit there and say, oh, I'm an electrician. I am a painter. I am a carpenter. Then the second question you ask is, hey, do you do side jobs? Because if they say, the reason why you're asking that is because, when you're going through the company, you want to pay that top, price.
Dollar.
But hey, man, this guy works there. He can paint. He can change the toilet. He can change the sink. And if you do a side job, then you can get it for a lower price. You know what I'm saying? And I said, man, the way I started off was I just go to the notes section of my phone. I put their name there, their telephone number, and I put their specialty of what they do. And I built up a catalog that way. I mean, now I got an app that I use, but I'm saying you don't need an app. You got to use what you got. You know what I mean? Right. The one thing everybody got is a phone, and the one thing everybody got is a notepad in your phone. And it's very easy to put a person's name down, their specialty, their phone number. And I normally put the date on when I met them and kind of how I met them so I can remember them. And then when that time calls, when you sit there and you get your first property, and let's just say you get one where light rehab needs to occur, rather than calling these major contractors, you will call in these handymen, right? That's going to sit there and be able to tile up a bathroom floor for you, be able to replace that vanity and replace that toilet, to be able to do a little backsplash in your kitchen, to be able to replace that that faucet, because you can put in a nicer faucet to make the counter look better, even though the counter is trash, right? Or what I like to do, like in the kitchens, a lot of times you don't have any knobs, like little knobs on the kitchen doors makes a whole big difference. You can pay them, and you can come out with your property looking much better than your competition property, and you got it done for the fraction of the work, from a labor perspective. And so that's just one of the things that, like, I teach, where people just don't know to do those things.
Yeah. So how many people you're mentoring now? Like, what's your
man? I mean, currently right now, man, I mean, I got probably about 10 people in the mentoring class right now. So the ride along is just like a 1 day event as of today. Eventually I'm probably gonna make it 2, but that's kind of like a one type deal. So you come in, obviously you pay, right?
Right.
And you get that experience, right? And for the coaching, obviously it's like 6-week program where we walk you through the whole process.
Step by step.
And truth be told is I tend to be there and help you out. But the second thing I'm working on, which is going to be for 2020, is I like, the coaching is a little bit expensive, right? Compared, I mean, depending on the person. And but it's an investment in yourself, and it's really not expensive when you realize the ROI that's going to be returned from it. But I've been thinking, so I'm putting together, and it's going to be in 2020, probably in January. I'm putting together a membership site. And
2021.
I'm 2021. Yes, 2021. Yeah, I'm putting together a membership site. So where it's going to be, obviously, a membership price, or you pay a recurring fee, and it's going to have everything you need in it to sit there and start your journey onto to real estate, so you have something to refer back to. And the big thing is going to be in there is going to be kind of like an on-demand type of deal. It's going to be a lot of mindset, stuff, right? Because it's this guy I met back in January. He got this sweater, and I really need one. And on his sweater, it said, 80% mindset, 20% skill equals 100% success. And that's true. And I think that a lot of people don't understand how big mindset is to your success. And so, I also do these journey to success calls, which basically teach you, how to write goals and, habits, and how to build them and how to break them, and I'm going to dump all those recordings there for people to have it on demand and go there. So it's going to be a cool thing. And I'm also, I just wrote a book. So,
really?
So yeah,
really?
Yeah. I'm thinking of the title right now. It's a real estate book. It's based on the ride along as well. For your viewers, hey man, I'm more than willing to give it to you for free. So
okay, thank you.
If they say they came through you, boom, they got it. Ebook. So we're doing that. So 2021 is we're going to hit the scene hard, and my whole objective and goal is to sit there and make sure that everybody got somehow, some way to get this information, right, according to their pocketbook, and they're able to be successful.
Yeah, and I asked the question because I'm gonna tell you, on social media, you give out a lot of free game. A lot of free game. They didn't want to follow you. I know they be like, yeah, he gives out a lot of free game, and you're so passionate about it. Sometimes I don't think you realize that you're giving out too much information for the people. You know what I mean? But it's inquisitive, because it makes you really wonder. In reference to real estate, like, wow, you're really doing great at it. And sometimes you have people who say they're doing great, but then when you see someone, especially for me, I could tap into someone who I know and like, he's really taking off with this. Yeah. And there's especially at this point with the pandemic, you're probably the only realtor I know that's not having a bad time. Yeah. That's not like a billionaire You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most other realtors I know, people who have, I'm not gonna say realtors, but real estate has a real estate portfolio. People I know, they're having tough times right now. They're trying to dump things and things of that nature. And you're just like, no, I'm holding everything.
Yeah, oh, no.
And I'm making a profit. So clearly you know what you're doing. You're doing it right.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I got one of my students right now, man. I mean, boy, let me tell you this quick story. So, you know, I'm like, all right, he had about, I don't know, $7,000 in the bank or whatever. He like, hey, man, I really want to get into real estate, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I said, all right, you know, like we start mapping out his plan, you know, and it took some guts, and he pulled it out, and he had to convince his wife and all this stuff. So he had no clue about equity, just never knew anything about it. So he's been living in his house for the past 5 years. And I said, do you have any equity in your home? That might be the first place we could tap in. He's saying no. I said, well, let's check or whatever. And I'm not thinking anything of it because I'm like, you don't got no equity, right?
Right.
Come to find out, this sucker got like $80,000 to $90,000 worth of equity in his home. So he still didn't really understand what that meant. So we had to break it down. I said, okay, your plan is changing, you know, and so he wanted to do the rent-free type of deal, you know, which is like house hacking. So what we did was he had an FHA loan on his current property. So I said, all right, you're gonna have to refinance out of your FHA loan into a conventional. And when we do that, we're going to do something called, you know, cash out refinance. And also before we did that though, we made sure that, because he's going to rent his current home, we made sure that when we do this refinance, that the rent is going to cover all the expenses. So we did the cash out he got a check for almost $50,000. Found him a duplex where he had to convince his wife at this time to move from a house into a duplex.
After he got 50,000.
He did, right? So we took the money, and what was cool was he can get another FHA loan. Now, people don't know the power of FHA. So the power of FHA is when you move into a primary residence, you could put down as low as 3.5%. So real quick. So me as an investor, if I buy a duplex, right? Vince, you are going to move into a duplex right next door to each other. We buy 2 duplexes. Mm-hmm. You're going to move in yours. I'm just going to buy mine to rent out, right? So you moving in, and they both $100,000 a piece. I have to put down 25%, which is 25,000, right? Plus closing costs, right? Let's just say closing costs 5%. You know, so that's another 5,000, right? 30. Plus, I gotta have about 3 to 6 months worth of mortgage stored in my bank account. Right. You moving in with FHA loan primary residence, you could put down as low as 3.5%, which is $3,500. You know, and if you get some seller assistance, you don't even have to come out your pocket in the closing costs.
Really?
You know so these are the things that people don't realize, and I tell them, especially individuals that lives in apartments and stuff like that, that the process of you getting an apartment is 100% the same process that you can go and do something called house hacking, which is what he's doing now. He got this duplex. He's moving in one. He's going to rent out the other, and the rent that he's receiving from the other is covering the mortgage. So he's living more rent free. And the people who living in apartments right now, it's the same process. Think about it. And you know, I drop game. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Look.
Okay.
It's the same process. To move in an apartment, what you have to do, you have to find it. Right? To move into a house or a duplex, what you have to do? You have to find it. The next thing you have to do is you have to apply for an application, and you have to go through an application process. Well, you have to go through the same thing to get a mortgage, right?
That's true.
You know, the next thing you have to do is you have to put down a security deposit, right? Well, guess what? You got to put down a down payment.
Right? Security deposit, same thing.
Right. There's no difference. And I think another thing people say, you know, because of being miseducated, oh, I don't want to deal with tenants. Well, you don't have to. It's something called property management. And you just sit there, get a property manager, and the tenant in the building would never know you even own it.
Right. You think you're renting too.
And the cool thing about it is you could be snooping on them to make sure that they are doing the right thing.
That's true. That's true.
And when you tell these individuals this, because people just miseducated, it opens up their eyes and they understand it once it's explained. And then at that point in time, I just show them the steps in the way. Obviously you got to do the work, right? And
Right.
And go from there. And it's a beautiful thing, man. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
That's free game. You're right too. It's not that much different one to the other. It's the mindset though. Like you said earlier, it's all in the mindset. What you want to accomplish, opposed to what you're or the fear of stepping out of your comfort zone.
People have a problem with saving money, and I tell them the quickest way to save some money is to house hack. Especially if you live in an apartment already. You going to in a duplex or a triplex or a quad, you're going to be living in an apartment. What's the difference?
Yeah.
What is
right.
the difference? And I tell them to do math backwards. I say, hey, if you got $3,500, I think you got to have roughly about $5,000 to move into any apartment these days, I would think.
And that's light.
Yeah, and that's light, right? So if you got $5,000 and you do that math backwards, divide that by 3.5%, you're looking at your buying power of $142,000. So you can find something for roughly $142,000. You can get down with one of these programs where they help you out with seller assist, or these days, the people are giving seller assist out, where you'll have no closing costs. So you can get a property really quick. You can get property management. We work out the numbers because remember, property is all about numbers, and we work out the numbers and voila, you got your savings plan. And I tell people to do the smart method, which is act like you're paying the mortgage.
Put that money up.
You put that money up, and all you do is stay there for a year. That's it. Or a year and a half. And then you move. If you're got an apartment that you pay $1,000 a month to, and you stay there for 1 year, that's $12,000 that you can put up in the bank, right? As well as got some equity in the house, as well as getting the mortgage pay down. And this is the money that people don't see, is you get to take advantage of all the tax breaks.
That's right.
You get to take advantage of all tax, and then anything that's related to real estate, buying books, educational things, seminars, all those things are tax write-offs. It's just like, and I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer for a lot of people, especially if you live in an apartment, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, and people need to hear that. And that's why I think it's important. That's one reason why I wanted to get you on, because people need to hear and understand that the conventional way of doing things is over for the most part. There's people out there who have good information, good knowledge of what's going on. You just got to tap in.
Right.
I think sometimes people they don't know, so they don't really go investigate or things of that nature. But like you said, I think first of all, your course is worth every penny of it because you have a wealth of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And they can't just get that out of a book, right? You're giving them experience. You're giving them the know-how. You done made the mistake. And this is what I try to tell people when they take these courses. Someone else has made the mistake already. They telling you how not to make the mistake. Why not pay for it? That just makes sense.
It's a mindset, and people so caught up on how much something costs, but not caught up on what happened after the cost, which is the ROI. And I tell people, once you break that and understand that the return on this investment is going to be huge, because somebody said, oh, it costs $1 million. I wouldn't know. I'm like, no, that's not the mindset. It's if I pay this $1 million, what is it going to do for me?
What I get, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter the cost. It's the return on the cost.
Right.
Because if this return is going to generate me $150 million, I'm gonna pay $1 million. I'm gonna tell Vince, brother, you got $1 million?
That's right.
I'm about to get 150. Right. So hey, look, and if you don't get 150, at least you get 120. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and that's a big mindset shift for people to invest. But because of the society that we live in, right? You know, they got no problem. Like they got no problem paying for college. You know what I mean? And the crazy part about it, you know, is that people pay for college and they don't even go into the field of their study.
Listen, everybody, at least 90%, and I'm being modest. At least 90% of people who go to college and graduate they don't come out and work in the field that they went to college for.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. And then you got to pay for the rest of your life for these loans and things of that nature, and you're not even working in that field. Yep. So you're right. And people should, I think more people should find a niche and just study just that niche. Mm-hmm. or trade. Let's just use it, you know, say trade. Find a trade and study that. But you got to be willing to invest in yourself. Yes. At some point, you got to put your money behind you, or you're going to work, or you're going to be always, what do they say, building someone else's dream.
Yes. Yep. That's correct.
You know, that's the way it be sometimes. So you wrote a book. That's interesting. When do you think that's coming out?
Actually, it's done. I'm just in proofreading stage, you know, so they proofreading for the grammar and edits and all that good stuff. I'm the book writer, man, you know, so, you know, you got to make sure that the edits and the grammar is good. So that, and, you know, obviously we're going to get, you know, a cover. I have to, I got a few titles that I've been kicking around. And so, you know, so we're right there, man. So 2021, you know, we're right there, man. I'm
taking off.
Yeah.
Let me know when that book comes out. I definitely want it.
Oh yeah.
What else? I definitely got to get that because I think I'm gonna get back into real estate. I mean, you're gonna talk off of this. And I'm gonna try to get back into it.
Let's do it.
And I can't. I'm gonna tell you, and I told you earlier, I have no complaints about it. I did very good in it.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, got spoiled. That's it. So that's a whole nother story. So what kind of business your wife is doing now? Because it's a family.
So business. Yeah, man. So she opened up a cleaning service, you know, where you know we get contracts for we have contracts for all right, let me get this. We got we actually about to close. I mean, I can't talk about that. So because it's not inked, right? So it's like a janitorial service. So, you know, we sit there and we go in, we clean. She got one facility that's like what would you call this? So it's imagine an office that rents out offices.
Yeah, I know
right?
what you're talking about.
So I don't know what that's called, like, you know, but like, you know, we do a lot of those, you know, come in and obviously, you know, do the flooring because this place in particular I'm talking about, they got like this, and my wife is so much better at talking to this than I am, but you know, the type of flooring, you got to do this all type of treatment and all this. And we got some daycares, you know, as well. And a few other things. So it's slow, you know. She's doing a few things that's a little different, learned a lot, and that's going to be looking very promising in 2021 as well.
Well, it definitely is because her husband has all these real estate properties. So when he buys and he closes on those, guess where them contracts going now? Right. And with all your friends who's doing real estate, plugging her right in.
Yeah.
Smart move. Smart move.
Yeah. And it's good.
Listen, man, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and what's cool and what she, you know, she's learning, you know, the payroll system and paying the staff and you know going through what you go through with employees. You know, some show up for work, some don't. You know what I mean? So, you know, and it's good because like I just look at all this really, and you know, my son, you know, he's right here, and I look at this all this because this is all going to be free to him to say, you know, hey son, this is how you do an interview. This is, you know, what you look for. You know, when you see these type of signs, it's best just to stay away, regardless to you know what they're saying, and you know, and you know, I just think that he's going to be so much ahead of the game, you know, depending on you know what he wants to do, and when that time comes, you know, we just going to have that information there for him. And that's the part I love the most. That's, I guess you're supposed to have your why, right? You
Right.
know, and that will ultimately drive me, is that I can actually teach my son something that no one else can teach. You know, I mean, like, what I mean by that is no schooling or anything like that, you know, and that excites me. And we're able to leave something behind for him, you know, as well. So not only do we kind of teach him something, but we also leave something, you know, behind, you know, for him. So
Right.
I think that's fantastic.
And let me reiterate, as I spoke earlier, I think it's, as a father too of three, um, just being able to uh, not have your offspring go through what you went through and make the same mistakes. That's priceless. You know, that's price. You can't buy that, because he don't have to start where you started from. He's gonna start where you stop,
Yeah.
and that's how you create generational wealth and legacies. Um, for an example, he don't have to start in the mail room. He started the boardroom, because that's where dad's at the boardroom. You understand? So that's important.
That's
Those
big.
messages is something. Yeah, those messages is something that we wasn't taught from our forefathers. So for us to implement that into our future, that's the whole. I think that's the whole benefit of entrepreneurship and doing what we do, is to make sure that that next generation don't go where we started. They don't have to go through what we went through. Like you said, you live in Jersey now, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you're from Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and you live in a good part of Jersey, but you wasn't in a good part of Philly.
No.
Your son don't have to have those. He don't have to have those experiences,
Correct.
and that's a blessing. You know what I mean? And that's what he's gonna appreciate you more for ever, even way after you're gone, because way after you're gone, because then imagine what he's gonna teach his kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're starting this transition now. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
important.
No, it's big,
So I
man.
appreciate you for that.
It's big, and that's what it's about. Like it's about the kids. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I pray over my son every night. So yeah, I'm a person who go to bed pretty late, and you know, when he's sleeping, I go in there and I pray over top of him, you know, and I also thank God for him, you know, because
Right.
that's what keeps me from straying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know,
That's your
that's what
focus
keeps,
point.
when them days are hard, right? You know, and you sit back and you look at your family and you count your blessings, because, you know, at the end of the day, man, my wife's healthy, you know, I'm healthy, my son's absolutely healthy. My mother, she's 82, you know, kicking around, still telling people off like that. You know, it's like, that's why, you know, when we talk, you ask me how things going. I'm like, it's
Great.
fantastic, because
Right.
you know, the bills
Right.
are paid, you know what I mean? We're thinking about just being able, like, having extra income coming in. I'm just about to book a trip to go away because I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you build yourself up, you know, to that, you know, to be able to do those type of things. Now, I'm not the person that you're going to see in the Lamborghinis and the Lambos or anything like that. And I got nothing against them, right? You know, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm an individual where, you know, my real estate is paying my mortgage, my real estate is paying my car note. You know, the real estate is also
Right.
paying the bills around the house. The real estate is also allowing me to take my wife out to Capitol Grill to get something to eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, with that being said, you know, it's important that people, you know, truly understand that, and understand that, you know, a big shift of what we were talking about with the mindset is everything.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're not trading your time for money, right? And if you take the finances off the board,
Mhm.
just the stress relief of knowing you can do. Like you said, you're going on vacation because you want to,
Yep.
right? You don't have to wait for. Uh, you can do what you can pretty much do what you want when you want.
Mhm.
That's important in life, because that's you don't have no stress, and there's nothing more. Look, you don't even have no gray hair. Like that. Serious, like that's just a blessing when when the stress level is so low. You don't have to stress about things. The kids healthy. Stress will take you out of here.
It will.
Stress will really take you out of here. But as long as you, and I always say this, as long as I make some money, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah,
okay.
no,
I don't
right.
have to worry. As long as the people around me is not suffering, they don't have to see the hardships.
Mhm.
I'm doing something right.
No,
You know,
and that's
that relieves stress.
absolutely
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best part of life.
Yes.
That's the best part of life. Just knowing that you can maintain and you support the people around you, your family, your wife, your kids. As long as they're not suffering, nothing else really matters. You don't need the biggest house and the biggest car. Stay in your lane, like
Mhm.
we always do. Get in our lane, and as long as it's in my lane, I don't have to worry because I know my lane perfectly.
And have fun. Like, so I was one of them guys thinking that, hey, oh man, you not need 100 million. I ain't saying that I don't, right? Like, so let me just make sure I
Yeah.
make that clear, right? But the one thing I am saying is that, I have talked to enough people that's successful and seen enough people and they tell me a lot. And one of the beauties, and I ain't there yet, but I'm working to get there, is, one guy told me, he said he believes the American dream is to live off of your interest income. And when he told me that, I thought that was pretty interesting. And I kind of had to do some studies on what that truly really meant.
Just me.
You
Right,
know,
right.
and when I did that, then I realized that I had to understand what kind of lifestyle I wanted to live. And so you gotta, say, hey, this is the lifestyle I want to live. So now this is the lifestyle I want to live. So to live this lifestyle, this is the financial status that you have to achieve to live this lifestyle. So I'm chasing a lifestyle, man, and it kind of goes to touch on kind of what you mentioned, to be able to say, hey, I got an extra 4 to 5 grand where I can sit there and spend, on a vacation. I'm able to sit there and call me, hey man, we out, at the Capitol Grill or whatever, or Del Frisco's,
Right,
come on through. I'm able to, if I got the time, right, if I'm available,
right.
I'm able to go through and not worry about the finding, because money is a stress within itself, and when you don't have it and those pennies not adding up, things get, the conversation change,
Right, right,
the
right.
thoughts change, and you know
Get tight.
and it's tough. So I'm gonna leave it
Yeah,
there.
it is. And you know what? You know the thing is, we I think we've been taught that we have to live a certain way, right? But the truth is, you don't need $100 million. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It would be very nice. I'm not there. I'm not even at $1 million.
Right,
But
right.
it's nice to have $100 million. I gather,
Mhm,
right? But I'm so comfortable where I'm at that I don't want for anything.
mhm.
My kids don't want for nothing. My family doesn't want for nothing. I'm still able to be um, a crutch for people I love if need be, right?
Yes.
So I don't need to chase $100 million is stressful. When I can just keep, as long as I'm on the path I'm going at the pace I'm going, I'm
Mhm,
gonna live longer.
mhm.
And that's my thing. I just want to buy. I want time. I don't want to burn myself out. I want to stretch this thing out as long as possible because I don't plan on leaving here no time soon.
There
God
you go.
willing.
There you go.
You know. And one thing I like to ask everybody on the way out is
Yeah.
retirement. What's your retirement look like? I know one guest said golf. What's your retirement look like?
I don't know, man. I don't see, I'm a, like, look, I woke up this morning and I jumped out the bed dancing, right? So if my wife would have saw my dance moves this morning, I would never live it down. So I'm happy that she didn't roll over and saw it, but that's me. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like, I always live this practice life, I call it, right? Because
Mhm.
I had a crappy attitude, just to let you know,
Really?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, my attitude. I mean, I always was a good person, but my attitude stunk, right? And when
That's
when I
honest.
realized that, you have to pour into yourself, right?
Right.
So, what I mean by that is, I live a practice like where the reason why I jump out the bed happy is because I work to get to this point.
That's
I
right.
sit here and listen to motivational things in the morning. I sat here and read books to get my mindset right,
Mm.
and continuing to do it so I can stay on this happy path.
Right. Right.
But when it comes to, the retirement thing, man, this is what I always thought. I think I'm always going to be doing something for people. Like I
Right.
see myself, being extremely active until the day that I can't be active anymore with people.
Okay.
It got to
Okay.
do something with people. If that's continuously showing them real estate, if that's doing something else with youth or adults, or it got to be with people though, because I just like people, right?
Right.
But the one thing I always said is when it gets cold, I want to be somewhere when it's hot.
Hot.
And then when it gets, then I want to so I like the Northeast, but I don't like it when it's cold, and I'm being honest. So I guess my retirement plan in my head is, if I'm able to sit there and just have, multiple locations I can go to change my weather, and not worry about the seasons, then to me, that's a vacation within itself.
It's a vacation, right. See, now when I talk about retirement with entrepreneurs, mainly, yeah, when I talk about retirement entrepreneurs, I'm thinking more so like the wind down. Because I don't think we're ever gonna leave. We're never gonna just stop, right? So when you retire from a job, you no longer do that job. You no longer go there. You're never gonna stop, but you create so many streams of income that you always got to check in on them. But see, I want to just travel. I just want to go, like you said, go somewhere hot, stay at the beach, and just be able to pick up my phone, see, oh, you need me? Yeah, if I got to come for a meeting or something, I fly in. That's retirement to me.
Okay.
Golfing, doing something, not too much water sports, but somewhere nice. I do want to have a nice house not on the beach, but I want a nice big pool and somewhere secluded where I can have my own space. That's retirement to me. But I gotta have my money though. I gotta make sure I'm still continuously making money.
Yeah.
But at some point, I feel like I'm gonna pass it down to the youngins and say, "Hey, y'all run the business. I just oversee everything.
Take it over."
Yeah. That's retirement to me. That's when I just say, "Okay, I'm done."
That's sweet, man. That's sweet.
And I don't have. I'm looking at another maybe 10 years.
Okay.
10 years, I think I'm just, hey, I'm over with this. Let me do something different.
Nice. I mean, maybe I need to talk to you about that. Man, I mean, for whatever reason, I just think I'm gonna be young forever. I probably should never think that way. But I just I feel good. My knees, feel a little funny at times.
Good.
But outside that, man, I just feel good and I feel youthful, and I feel like I'm getting my brain's getting sharper, sharper as I get older, and I just want to be around like people, and I just want to do something with people. That's the thing. I don't know what it is going to be, but and I just want to change my seasons, and be able to do that, with my wife, with my son. One of the cool things, like being in New Jersey, I did notice is where, when kids typically get to a certain age, they start to do their own thing. They start to live their life. They start to be with their friends, right? Hanging out with them first. Then they get involved with girls, or a girl get involved with a guy, and they start doing that thing, right? And then they might go to school or whatever, go away. And well, one thing I noticed, which, my wife and I were probably one of the first thing we're going to do is probably buy a beach house. And I'm going to tell you why. Because living in New Jersey, I noticed that people who got beach houses and families who got beach houses, they are very together, regardless to how old. And the reason why I say that is because during the summertime, everybody comes to the beach house. And the beach house might be full, but you get to see your kids through the whole duration of the 18s, the 21s, the 25s, the married, then they got the grandkids, and I'm just, I'm just seeing this whole thing, and I just peeped it like, wow, that is what's keeping a lot of these families together. You get to see your kids, you get to see your grandkids, and that's something that I do want, and that's an avenue that I will create, for that, to keep my family in this kind of family, niche thing. Yeah.
And coming from New York, and I'm gonna tell you why I think that happens, because the people with the beach houses, they financially set.
Yeah.
People who don't have it, 9 times out of 10, you got everybody having to work just to survive and not live. People with beach houses, they live in. Wow. If you're not in that financial bracket, you're just surviving.
Wow.
You're trying to pay Peter to pay Paul. rob Peter, pay Paul, and you live in check to check. So that's the difference. That's why people, I think that's why families disperse so fast, because once you get 18, 19, whether you go to college or not, when you come home, you got to hit the ground running. You got to get a job.
Yeah.
Opposed to the situation that we're trying to, you know, we're putting in place now for our youth is when you can relax. You don't have to be so eager to go work for someone else, and you can relax. You can come and stay home for, you know, because you have a home and not just an apartment. You know, not like an apartment is a bad thing, but you know, you're not living with, you don't have to come here and pay rent. I already took care of all that. You know what I mean? It's a different financial, and I don't know if I'm explaining it right or wrong. I don't want to offend nobody, but
maybe knocking out the park. Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's a different financial state. So your mindset is different. Like right now, I mean, think about where you started from to where you at now. You couldn't fathom what you're doing now. Like this is like, it's, you know, I call it, this is all profit to me. Like I got this far, this is all profit. I'm playing on borrowed time because I know where I came from, and I know where I came from. I wasn't supposed to be here. If I'd have stuck to the blueprint that was given to me then, you know what I mean? So to me, I'm playing on borrowed time. So what I'm doing with my son is all, and with my daughters is I'm teaching them, you don't ever have to do that. You know what I mean? It's just a different mindset we're implementing. So I think that's the thing with the beach houses. And you're right, when you see the families with the beach houses, they financially set.
Yeah.
They ain't got to be rich, but they good.
They good, yeah.
You know, so
yeah,
I think that's more so that attitude. But you're definitely on the right path, man.
Yeah.
So look, tell everybody where they can reach you at, your social media handles and
your
website, especially your website.
Yeah, cool. You can reach me, you know, on Instagram. Everybody got an Instagram, right? So it's Lenny _the _ball 723, right? But I'm heavy on Facebook. So, you know, friend requests me, you know what I mean? And if you tell you what my boy, you know, Vince, you know, just inbox me and once this book come out, you got it, right? So, you know, those are two major ways to contact me, man. And if anybody, you know, needs some, you know, assistance or some help or want to learn a little more, just inbox me. You know what I mean? That's the best way to contact me. So.
Okay. Do you, what about your website? Do you have a website up?
No, actually that's under construction as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get it, let me know.
We got a lot of sale pages though.
Yeah, well, get it to them. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We gotta get together next time you're down this way.
Absolutely.
Because I'm probably not gonna be up in Jersey no time soon.
No problem. I'm coming down very soon, man. Actually, I was supposed to be down there, but you know, this
COVID and everything.
Pandemic going on. But I will be down there very soon, actually.
Okay. Definitely hit me up. Let's do lunch or dinner or something. It's on me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you doing the podcast with me.
Absolutely.
And thanks again, man. I appreciate it. We got to link up. I might be hitting you up for some real estate advice.
Oh yeah, no, might, man. You got the back number, so
I definitely do.
I'm even gonna get that one.
Call you, man.
You know what I mean?
We definitely gonna talk about it, man. I appreciate it, man.
Sweet, no problem. Hey, thank you, man.
All right, yeah.
All right, have a good one. Peace.